Mencari timba si anak dara di bawah sarang burung tempua. Salam sembah pembuka bicara, salam sejahtera untuk semua. Salam sejahtera, salam Malaysia Madani, salam Sarawak Maju Makmur, salam Institut Pendidikan Guru Malaysia, peneraju kecemerlangan pendidikan guru bertaraf dunia, dan salam menjulang kegemilangan Batu Lintang. Yang dihormati Saudara Muhammad Halif Safril bin Safri, Pengerusi Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Batu Lintang. Yang dihormati Saudari Akilah binti Hud, Naib Pengerusi Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Batu Lintang. Yang dihormati Saudari Siti Nur Afikah binti Jaidi, Pengerusi Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Tun Abdul Razak. Yang dihormati Saudari Siti Karunisa binti Bai, Naib Pengerusi Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Tun Abdul Razak. Yang dihormati Saudara Lalu Ilham bin Hunain, Pengerusi Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Sarawak. Yang dihormati Saudara Muhammad Fahruzi bin Kamaluddin Kici, Naib Pengerusi Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Sarawak. Yang dihormati panel-panel jemputan, barisan ahli jawatan kuasa pelaksana, program bicara praktikum, para peserta dan warga maya yang saya hormati sekalian. Majlis mengucapkan selamat datang dan selamat sejahtera ke program Bicara Praktikum Fasa 1 bagi tahun 2026. Terima kasih atas kesudian para hadirin untuk meluangkan masa bagi bersama-sama menjayakan program kita pada hari ini. Untuk pengetahuan semua, program ini merupakan anjuran Biro Akademik Ahli Jawatan Kuasa Perwakilan Pelajar Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Batu Lintang dengan kolaboratif Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Sarawak dan Biro Akademik Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Tun Abdul Razak. Program ini diwujudkan sebagai satu platform pengosian ilmu dan pengalaman bagi membantu guru-guru pelatih membuat persediaan yang rapi sebelum melangkah ke praktikum fasa 1, di samping memberikan gambaran yang lebih jelas tentang realiti sebenar dunia perguruan. Justru, besar harapan kami agar para peserta dapat memanfaatkan sepenuhnya setiap perkongsian yang akan disampaikan oleh panel-panel jemputan pada hari ini. Semoga segala ilmu, pengalaman dan tips yang dikongsikan menjadi panduan berguna serta bekalan yang bernilai dalam menghadapi praktikum fasa 1 kelak. Sebelum kita meneruskan program, pihak penganjur ingin memohon kerjasama semua peserta untuk membuat pendaftaran kehadiran bagi program Bicara Praktikum Fasa 1. Para peserta boleh mengimbas kod QR yang dipaparkan di skrin bagi mengakses Google Form pendaftaran kehadiran. Mohon peserta memastikan maklumat yang diisi adalah tepat sebagai rekod penyertaan dan sijil bagi program hari ini. Kami akan memberikan sedikit masa kepada semua peserta untuk mengimbas kod QR dan melengkapkan borang tersebut. Terima kasih atas kerjasama yang diberikan. Dipersilakan. Majlis mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih atas kesudian para peserta mengimbas kod QR sebenar tadi. Baiklah, sebelum kita memulakan program pada hari ini, marilah kita bersama-sama menandatangan dan memohon keberkatan daripada Yang Maha Esa agar majlis kita berjalan dengan lancar, diberkati dan mendapat manfaat kepada semua yang hadir. Untuk itu, majlis dengan segala hormat mempersilakan Saudara Muhammad Halif Safril bin Safri untuk memimpin bacaan doa. Dipersilakan.
Amin amin bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Amin amin bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Segala puji bagi Allah Subhanahu wa taala, Tuhan sekalian alam. Selawat dan salam ke atas junjungan besar Nabi Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, ahli keluarga baginda, para sahabat serta mereka yang mengikuti sunnah baginda hingga ke akhir zaman. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim. Kami merafakkan setinggi-tinggi kesyukuran kehadrat-Mu kerana dengan limpah dan kurnia dan izin-Mu dapat kami berhimpun dalam program Bicara Praktikum Fasa pertama pada hari ini yang penuh makna. Ya Allah, ya Zal Jalali wal Ikram, kurniakanlah keberkatan kepada majlis kami ini, permudahkanlah segala urusan, lancarkanlah perjalanan program dari awal hingga ke penghujungnya, serta jauhkanlah kami daripada segala kesulitan, gangguan dan perkara yang tidak diingini. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, bukakanlah pintu-pintu ilmu, kefahaman dan hikmah kepada kami. Jadikanlah perkongsian ilmu pada hari ini memberi manfaat, menambahkan keyakinan, memantapkan pengetahuan serta menjadi bekalan yang berguna buat kami dalam melaksanakan amanah sebagai seorang guru pelatih. Ya Allah, kurniakanlah kekuatan fizikal, ketenangan jiwa, kesabaran dan kebijaksanaan kepada semua bakal guru yang akan menjalani praktikum fasa pertama. Pemudahkanlah urusan kami ketika merancang, mengajar, membimbing murid, berinteraksi dengan warga sekolah serta menghadapi setiap cabaran dengan penuh profesionalisme, keikhlasan dan integriti. Ya Allah, ya Rahman, ya Rahim, jadikanlah kami guru-guru yang berilmu, berakhlak mulia, amanah, berdedikasi dan mampu mendidik generasi pewaris bangsa dengan penuh hikmah dan kasih sayang. Semoga setiap usaha yang kami lakukan menjadi amal soleh yang Engkau redai. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina azabannar. Wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala alihi wa sahbihi wasallam. Walhamdulillahi rabbil alamin.
Amin amin ya rabbal alamin. Setinggi-tinggi penghargaan diucapkan kepada Saudara Muhammad Halif Safril bin Safri atas pimpinan bacaan doa. Itu tadi, semoga program kita pada hari ini berjalan dengan penuh kelancaran. Hadirin sekalian, tanpa melengahkan masa, marilah kita bersama-sama menjemput dan mempersilakan Saudari Syasmin Alina binti Saiful Bahtiar daripada Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Batu Lintang yang akan berkongsi ilmu dan pengalaman beliau untuk Opsyen TESL. Majlis dengan segala hormat bertakzimnya mempersilakan.
Assalamualaikum dan selamat pagi saya ucapkan kepada semua pihak yang hadir pada pagi ini. Terima kasih saudara moderator atas perkenalan sebentar tadi. Sebelum itu, izinkan saya untuk meneruskan perkongsian ilmu dan pengalaman saya berkaitan praktikum fasa 1 ini dengan menggunakan bahasa Inggeris. Good morning everyone, my name is Syasmin Alina binti Saiful Bahtiar, you may call me Alina. I am from the batch of 2023, the graduating cohort of 2027, previously known as 2022/2027. My option and tagging is TESL SJKC. I am from IPGKBL, and the reason why I was suggested to give this to share my experience and knowledge about practicum was because I was the Rentas Cemerlang TESL trainee of August to until November of last year. Now, without further ado, I'll start with the first section, and that is the preparation that you should do before you start your practicum. The first thing that you should do is that you should survey the route and traffic to school. Why? Because this is to familiarize yourselves with the route that you will have to go through to go to school. So what you should do is that between a Monday and Friday, on a weekday, any weekdays before your practicum, you wake up early on one of those days and then start your journey at the time you plan to go and drive to the school so that you can know, oh, what's the traffic is like? What route should I take? There are multiple routes, and you should try the multiple routes while going to school. And I did this last year on Wednesday, if I'm not mistaken. I woke up early at 5 a.m. and then I started my journey at 5:50 a.m. and I arrived at school at 6 a.m. And that's how I knew, oh, I think I will be going to school at this time when I start practicum so that I can be there on time. And please, on your first day of practicum, make sure you are not late. 6:30 is your latest arrival at school. No more later than that. For SJKC, they are a bit strict. Some teachers even come before 6:30, around 6:15, some even at 6 a.m. they've already arrived at school. SK, they're a bit, they're not that strict. So it depends on your tagging as well. The next one is the second thing that you should do before practicum is that you should contact the school. And this is to ask if they have received the letter, the surat makluman, informing the school that there will be practicum trainees in late August until early November. And the reason being for this is that, in my case, I had to go to school physically on a Wednesday, a week before practicum, because the school's landline was not working. I've called multiple times over the span of 4 days, if I'm not mistaken, but no one was answering, so I had to go there physically and ask them. You can go to Pejabat Am to ask the clerk or the PK1 or PK1 and GB especially. PKM, usually they really don't know about these stuffs. So you ask them, do you know that you will be receiving practicum trainees from this certain campus and so on and so forth? And if you manage to contact the school through the school's landline, you can ask for the GB's phone number from the clerk if it is okay. Be mindful of your tone, right? Do not sound so demanding. And before you start to ask the clerk, oh, I'm calling for this and this and this and that, you should first say, good morning. Apologies for imposing on you. I am so-and-so from this certain campus and I'm calling for blah, 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 blah. And then you continue on with the purpose of contacting them. The third thing that you should do before practicum is that you can ask if you can get your timetable and mentor's contact number during this week, then that would be very good. It's good so you can ask how far along the textbook or scheme of work have the teacher gotten, and then the PBD or school-based assessment results to know their performance level from TP1 to TP6, and then get to planning lesson plans immediately. However, you should not sound so demanding or forceful. If they don't want to, then only meet and see them during the first week of practicum on the first day and ask them about all of these stuff. How far along the textbook? How far along the SOW or scheme of work? What are the SPA or PBD results of the students, of which the classes that you were assigned to? And then for my case, I only got my timetable on the first, I got my timetable a week before practicum because I had to go there physically. However, I only managed to get my mentors phone number on the first day of practicum. So before that, I only had the timetable and that's it. I did not know how far along this 3M and 4M have gotten in the textbook, their PBD results. I do not know. I only got those things on the first day of practicum. And then the fourth thing that you should do before you start your practicum is that you should prepare a lesson plan format on Google Docs that your lecturer prefers. Keyword, your lecturer's preference. You have to ask your lecturer what kind of lesson plan format do they prefer. Different lecturer, different preference of the lesson plan, all right? So you should think of you should get one lesson plan format that you are comfortable with, and then you show it to your supervising lecturer. Would they be okay if you use this format during practicum? So for my lecturer, she actually preferred this format, the one that I showed you here on the screen. And then for other lecturers, they might prefer something else. So it depends on your lecturer. Ask your lecturers first. Meet with them, show them the format. Now, the fifth thing that you should do before practicum is that you should buy a box of A4 paper reams and like 30 plastic sheet protectors for your file/portfolio first, and slowly buy more throughout practicum. If you have, especially if your case is the same as mine, whereby I had financial constraints, so this is what I had to do. But if your financial situation is much more worse, maybe you can start with buying one A4 paper reams first, and then 30 plastic sheets protector. Up to you on how many you want to buy first. You can add on later. What matters is that you have a box of A4 paper reams or one A4 paper ream. One A4 paper ream, if I'm not mistaken, is about 50 sheets, depending on. Try to find the expensive ones. You do not buy the ones with very thick A4 paper, maybe 160 GSM, maybe even lower, 120 GSM. Those are cheap, so you can buy those. And then the sixth thing that you should do before practicum is that you should get one big tote bag for all the big files that you will be carrying to school. Files, or in other words, portfolio, because they're pretty big and they're very heavy. You cannot keep them in your backpack. Your backpack is your backpack. This is another bag. It's a tote bag. And then the laminating sheets, 50 or 100 sheets per box, up to you, whichever you prefer or whichever is available. And then blue markers, you only need 3. You won't really be doing a lot of writing on the whiteboard, especially if your tagging is SJKC, because SJKC, most of the schools are equipped with smart boards. So you will be utilizing the smart boards more than the whiteboard, unfortunately. And then the red markers, 1. And then the red pens, 3. And the paper clips, one small box. One small box have a lot of them, 100 paper clips in one small box. Tack it. You know those sticky things that you use to stick things onto the whiteboard? 1 packet. And then a clear tape. And then scissors or paper cutters, the one where you pull down and they will cut the papers for you. That is very handy, by the way. And then these are things that I really needed the most in the first few weeks of practicum, and you can actually buy other items later. You can add more and more and more, for example, color papers, etc. Up to you. These are the necessary items that I needed in the first few weeks of practicums. And then the 7th thing is that before practicum, you should buy 2D ring files for your portfolios. One is your general practicum file, and another one is your lesson plan file. But, however, you have to ask your lecturer first, how many files of 2D ring files do they want you to prepare? For my lecturer, she only said, oh, I only need you to prepare these two only, lesson plan and the general practical portfolio. That's it. Some lecturer might even go as much as 3. So you have to ask your lecturers first. And you can buy the 65 milliliter ring, 2D ring files, because that's thick enough. Yes, you do need that thick because your lesson plan file will be about this thick. And then, yes, check your lecturer's preference again. Your 2D ring files, your, what was it? Your lesson plan format. Those are the things that you have to ask your lecturer. Then number 8, the things that you should do before practicum is prepare your files or portfolio front and side cover. Create, or if you're lazy, buy and print the 2D ring files front cover and side cover design. Then cut and stick them, laminate them, whatever, up to you, into the plastic pockets of the file, like this. This is the front cover. There's your picture, the school logo, the IPG logo, the title, the information, your supervising lecturer, who's your mentor. And this is the side cover. Your major, the school, which phase, and what file is this? Is this the general practicum file or the daily lesson plan file? Number 8 is, before practicum, almost immediately do the site labeling. This will save you a lot of time because before practicum, you are free. What? You should do this now. You can either create or buy, print, laminate, cut, and stick the site labels for both files, general practicum file and lesson plan files. You can refer to the materials given by the practicum unit for what labels and in what order you should do. For example, the first label is usually the biodata file. No, the biodata label. And then the second one is usually the professional statement before, during, and after. Yeah, you should prepare this immediately. And then like frequency of observation forms, see this, and then the class timetable, the DSKP, whatever, all of those. You should prepare them before practicum. And then I forgot to change this one. This one is actually the extension wire and the extra charging cables. Buy one extension wire, serum, by the way, with serum label, and one extra charging cables for your phone, tablet, or iPad. This is because you do not have or you do not want to constantly take cables from and to school. So these two things, the extension wire and then the extra charging cables, will always stay in your practicum backpack. You don't need to take them out unless you are at school, and then when you go and you want to go back, you put it back inside your bag. That's it. So buy an extra extension wire and then charging cables. That's the things that you need because you really need these two. It will be a very long day at school and you will be using your laptops a lot for your lesson plan, for your general practicum files, and all of those. And then for the reward charts and cards, think of what reward charts or cards you are going to do. Draft the design earlier during this time before practicum. You do not know how many pupils you're getting each class yet, or group, how many groups you can make from that one class of pupils, and you can either do reward charts for groups or reward cards for individual students. It is up to you. Usually individual cards is a lot more burdensome because let's say you have 31 students, then you need those individual 31 cards of reward cards. Like for me, since I was lazy, what I did was I only did a reward chart of like the groups. I immediately assign them to groups so that I don't have to like print, design, laminate, cut so many individual reward cards for each student. Up to you, up to your creativity and your willingness to do. It's up to your efforts. Then number 12, think about your own attention grabber that you will want to do during practicum. There's waterfall, shush, and then are you ready? Aye, captain. Up to you. You better think about this now, like which attention grabber would you like to implement later? You can either use whatever is available, like I've pointed to you here, or you can think of your own. You still have time to think about it, so do it now. And then the number 13, this is something that you should do before practicum, obviously, and that is the WhatsApp group with you, your practicum mate, and then your lecturer. These 3 people. I mean, if you only have one practicum mate, then only 3 people are in that group with your supervising lecturer. You do this no matter what before practicum, please, not during practicum. That is way too late. And then number 14, the things that you should do before practicum is that you should create Google Drive folders like this. Practicum phase 1 is the big folder, and then inside the folder there are 2 more folders: general portfolio or /file, lesson plan portfolio /file. The reason being is that your supervising lecturer /practicum unit will check these files. So try to do everything on Google Docs, your lesson plan earlier, like I told you, Canva, your slides, your teaching slides, and so that they can all be accessible online. And if your laptop malfunctions, the data goes missing, or your laptop gets stolen, this has happened to a senior of mine, you can still access those lesson plan and the information about the school that you have collected. Try to do everything online on Google Docs, Canva, Google Drive. Do not try to do it on your laptop's own data like Microsoft Word, Microsoft PowerPoint. Do not try to do it on your laptop because anything can happen during that time. And if something happens, you might even feel like losing your mind. So try to do everything online. Name it Practicum Phase 1. There are 2 more subfolders inside just to be safe. And then these are the essentials to class that you should bring every time you go to class. Make sure you bring tissues, wet tissues, hand sanitizer with you because you do not want to get sick. So buy them and bring them with you when you go to class. You should have a small tote bag as well, yeah? If you have any. This is because 90% of practicum trainees get sick during this time. The chances of you not being sick is very low. Almost everyone gets sick. Both me and my practicum mate Flora got sick. For her, it was coughing. She was like this close to losing her voice. And your voice is essential as a teacher because you need it to impart knowledge. For me, it was flu. I couldn't breathe through my nose, so it was hard for me to speak as well. So that was also troublesome. Be careful when it comes to your hygiene. Make sure after you touch students, you immediately wash your hands. You cannot trust those children unfortunately, you cannot trust them when it comes to hygiene. They do not know how to take care of their hygiene quite well yet at that age. And then this is what you should do during practicum. You should constantly practice 3S. Even in IPG, seniors always tell us to do this, so you should do this too in school. Constantly senyum, sapa or salam the other teachers. Always give your bigger smile. Because if you do not do these 3, your supervising lecturer will hear complaints about you. And that is the one thing that you do not want to happen. Because if they hear complaints about you being, having a moody face almost all the time, you can forget about your rentasan cemerlang. unfortunately. Practice 3S all the time, no matter what. Say hi, smile with your biggest smile. Even though, yes, we know you're tired, you are sleep deprived, just smile, no matter what. And then the second thing that you should do during practicum is prepare your lesson plans. And before you can prepare your lesson plans, you should know your lessons. How many lessons per week will you have? Know how many periods you should get minimum. Minimum is 8 periods per week. Maximum 12. So for my case, I got lucky. I got 8 periods per week. And these are my lessons throughout the week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. I got 8 in total. And I got 2 classes. I was assigned to 2 classes, 3M and as well as 4M. And yes, this one. Yes, it is rare for you to get year 1 or year 6 classes, but there is still a chance for you to be assigned to those classes. Because in my class, 4 out of 21 of us got year 1 classes. 4 of us got year 1 classes, and only 1 of us got a year 6 class. Year 1 is very hard because they don't understand you. The class control is harder to do. So just pray which class the school management will give to you. It depends on their courtesy or keprihatinan as well. Number 4, during practicum, the first time you enter class, please be stern and strict. Do not smile when you enter class. Especially for those who are mini size, especially if you are short. Sorry to say, but this is the reality. If you are short, the chances of them looking down on you is pretty high. If you try to be friendly with them, the first time you meet them, you try to be so friendly, they will step all over you. Do not think of them as your friends first. They are not, they are your students. Sorry to say, but this is the reality. Students nowadays are not like we were back then. We still have that fear when it comes to our teachers and we would still respect them. Not nowadays. It is different. So please be stern and do not smile when you enter class. Number 5, during practicum, you should start buying more items. So A4 paper reams, the plastic file sheet protectors, so on and so forth. Color papers, up to you on what you want to buy and what you deem is necessary for you to buy. Number 6, during practicum, you should find most of the info needed to complete your general practicum file. Okay, in the first week, try to find the most and complete all of them already. Because some lecturers, during the first week of practicum, they will check your file. Yes, they are that early when it comes to checking your file, and these are the contents that you should have: your senarai kandungan portfolio, your biodata, your introduction letter, your professional statement. Before, during, and after, you try to get all of these during the first week of practicum. Try to complete them because your lecturer will check it during the lawatan social. Number 7, during practicum, the first week of practicum, try to complete your rewards charts or your rewards cards, because you've already been assigned to your classes already. So you would already know how many students you will get each class. Because of that, you should try to create and finish these rewards charts or cards in this week. This is what I did. I did group reward chart. I didn't do reward cards because that is way too many. I was not that hardworking. And then number 8, during practical, you should try to do your lesson plans right after you get your timetable. During the first week, you have no choice. right after you get your timetable at night, immediately start doing your timetable. Immediately start doing your lesson plans. Do not do them last minute, because your mentor and sometimes your lecturer will check them every single day. They will ask you, where's your lesson plan? I would like to see. Because if you don't prepare any surat amaran, your mentor will inform your lecturer, and your lecturer will discuss with the practicum unit to come up with a surat amaran for you if you do not complete your lesson plan. It is one of the basic things that you should do as a teacher. Your lesson plan is your lifeline, sorry to say. Number 9 is your other teaching aids. During practicum, over the span of like week 1 to like week 9, think about other teaching aids that you would like to do. For example, the SpongeBob box or the Doraemon box, up to you. What more? There are a lot more. You can use, those seniors who would sell BBM. You can buy from them and actually use this BBM to suit your lesson. You can even try to like modify those BBM that you bought and modify it to suit your lesson more. You can do that. It's okay if it's not your idea. You can because if you modify it, it counts as innovation, what? And it is better if you can create them yourselves, but that is pretty hard. So you just buy from your lecturers, not your lecturers, but your seniors. When it comes to those BBM, try to modify them, try to include in your lesson as much as possible, if you feel like doing so. Okay. Number 10, during practicum, you should put aside some money to buy and survey the gifts. Think and survey the gifts for your students later when you are done with practicum. It's not just your students. The GB, the PK1, the PKHEM, the PKKK, your mentor and your supervising leg. So think about those, what kind of gifts you would like to present them with. Put aside some money. It doesn't need to be expensive, as long as there are gifts. And then number 11, during practicum, think about your lunch. Unfortunately, during practicum, you barely get enough sleep. You would be sleep deprived almost all the time. And because of that, it would also lead to you barely having enough time to even eat. So most practicum trainees, I don't know if it's a good thing or a bad thing, would lose weight during practicum. So either you bring your own lunch or buy something on the way to school or at the school canteen. You cannot go out to buy food during school hours, so think about this very carefully. Like for my example, because my tagging is SJKC, fortunately for me, the school that I went for practicum was a dual stream school. It had SJKC side and then the SK side. So the canteen was fortunately a Muslim canteen operator. However, the food that they prepare every day is not that good or is not sufficient. So what I did was I would prepare 7 days croissant, the packaged bread, and place it at the back of my car for emergencies. Let's say I'm hungry, then I would take it at the back of the bonnet, take it out, bring it to the school library, which was where I was placed, and eat it there. Sometimes it's not just a 7 days croissant. I would even buy cup noodles and put it at the back of my car. So when I need it, I just take it out, pour hot water into the cup noodles and eat it. Unfortunately, that is the case. So for those whose tagging are SJKC and you are a Muslim, think about what you should eat or what you should bring to school to eat. And if possible, let me remind you this. If you want to buy food from your school canteen and it's the nasi campur kind of style, you might want to buy those food very early in the morning. Because if you wait until your class is done and then you go to the school canteen, chances are those food will be gone. Like only the residue, the oil residue is left. The food is no longer there. So try to buy them early in the morning. If the school canteen prepares food the nasi campur style. And then during practicum, you and your practicum mate unfortunately have to do one more thing, that is your practicum project. Just one. Ask about what projects you can do for the school. For example, me and my practicum mate Flora, we did a reading corner, or sometimes murals. But however, for murals, it depends on your campus. Please ask your campus, because some campus does not want their trainees to do murals for the school. Like for my batch, we were not allowed to do murals for the school. We were banned from doing any murals. So you should ask your lecturers, whoever in your department that you know, like what kind of practicum projects that you can do and cannot do. However, you should keep this in mind. If you want to claim the money used to decorate or create the practicum project, you need to prepare paperwork, kertas kerja. However, if you find it a hassle, then you do not get to claim any money. Like me and my practicum mate, we did all of this with our own money. We did not even try to claim it. All of these using colored papers, acrylic boards that we already have. Color papers we already had, so we just reused that. These were all our works. Depends on you. And then number 13, during practicum, please, please, please help your practicum mate. You are in the same boat. Your practicum mate is your ride or die during this period. So let's say you see them cutting their teaching aids and you are currently free. So you might as well take out a scissor and help them with it as well. And then while you're cutting this stuff together, you might talk about your students or something. Trust me, because for my case, even during my rentasan Cemerlang, my practicum mate Flora helped. It was thanks to her that I even got my rentasan Cemerlang. Trust me. Help your practicum mate, and they will help you in the end as well. Okay, this is the last part, if I'm not mistaken. During practicum, right after you finish your lesson, do your reflections immediately. Write your reflections right after the lesson ends, because some lecturers would even wait for you to finish writing your reflections during observations so that they can evaluate how you reflect as well. How you reflect on yourself, your pupils' attitudes of learning, the lesson planning, how you conduct the activities in the lesson, and the outcome of the planned activities, etc. So this is the format that you can follow. Underneath the lesson plan, you can write all of these, the pink colored ones. Reflection. Let's say for my 3M class last year, I had 8 students in total. 8 students out of 8 students, 8 out of 8 pupils achieved the learning objectives of so and so, and so and so. And these learning objectives, we just copy it from the lesson plan. And if, let's say, 7 out of 8 pupils achieve the learning objectives from so and so, 1 pupil is absent, correct? So you write the absent pupil's name here, and you say what you will do to like ensure the absent pupil achieves the same learning objectives. What kind of actions that you'll take or implement to do so. And then underneath all of these, you write the strengths, 2. Usually I write 2, but if you're hardworking, you write 3. Your strengths 2, your weaknesses 2, your improvements. Okay, make sure your improvements are related to the weaknesses that you have identified. Let's say your weaknesses number 1 is, I have noticed that the class control today went horribly, blah, 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 blah. So your improvement is, hence in the next lesson, I will try to do this, blah, 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 to ensure the class control, my class management is better, blah, blah, blah. That's how you should do it. Okay, now I will move on to Rentas nomination, on how for you to get nominated and how the process usually goes. Okay, rentas nomination. Some lecturers will ask you if it is okay for them to nominate you for rentas first. Okay, they will not nominate you immediately. Before they nominate you, they will ask you, are you okay if I nominate you for rentas so? If you are nominated, because the moment you are nominated for rentas, you cannot reject it. You have to go through with the observation and the process and everything. For you to be nominated for rentas, however, you have to do everything well. Your lesson plans are completed on time. In the physical portfolio and in the Google Drive, you always upload it on time. Your journals are uploaded on time. Your files or portfolios are almost complete, the general portfolio and the lesson plan portfolio. And they are also neatly arranged and labeled at the sides. And then you have improvement in your lesson planning, whereby your teaching aids or activities have gotten more and more creative. And the lecturer is able to see your willingness to use all kinds of teaching aids in your lessons, as long as you have the efforts to make the lessons more interesting. That is what they want to see for them to nominate you for Rentasan Cemerlang. Most importantly, your willingness to go through one more observation. Because when everyone else around you is completely done, you have one more. Okay, for practicum, we will have 8 observations. And these are the observations, by the way. Lawatan sosial, PR1 bidang teras, PR2 penyeliaan 1, PR2 penyeliaan 2, PR2 penyeliaan bersama, RPP. RPP is not observation, it's the presentation. And then PR1 koku, PR2 koku. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. There are 7 observations in total. So if you go for Rentasan Cemerlang, in total you will have 8. When everyone else is done with their 7 observations, you have 1 more to go. And that is the reason why some people, when they are asked if they would like to be nominated for Rentasan Cemerlang, they would reject. Because at that point, during practicum, at that point in time, you will be very tired. What you want to do is to be done with it. That's it. You don't want to go through it anymore. But for me, my practicum mate actually encouraged me to go for it. And she said, if you do it, I'll help you. So I was like, okay, since you said so. My practicum mate did help a lot. I think it was only because of her that I managed to get my Rentasan Cemerlang as well. So, like I said, your practicum mate is your ride or die. It depends on them and whether they will hype you up or not. So for my practicum mate, in her case, she was actually asked by my lecturer whether she would like to be nominated or not, because she had a lot of improvements. But however, in her case, she said no to the Rentasan Cemerlang before she was nominated. She said, I just want to be done with it already. I don't want to go through one more observation. So that is the reason why for my batch last year TESL, a lot of us rejected to be nominated for Rentasan Cemerlang because we were really tired at that point. Only 3 of us accepted when we were asked to be nominated for Rentasan Cemerlang. So it is up to you whether you want to go through one more observation. And then, okay, the reason why I think I was asked to be nominated for Rentasan Cemerlang is my lesson planning. What I did was I would try to plan my lesson plans ahead of time if possible. Most of it, I would bring a notebook, this notebook everywhere with me, and I would write all of these. Write the main and complementary skills, which scheme of work, which textbook page, the language focus in your notebook of those future lessons first, and bring that notebook with you everywhere. So if you get an idea, you can jot it down immediately. So what I did was I would write the year 4, my year 4 class, which SOW, SOW 88, the language focus have got what's the method, the textbook page is 103. SI means set induction, pre means presentation, closure, and then this one is the main skill. It is the practice part, and it's listening, L for listening. Which learning standard? It is to guess the meaning, main skill, and then the production part is also listening. This is the complementary skill, CS, and the learning standard is to recognize and reproduce the phoneme that they listen to. So I would write all of these, but these things that you see, I would write them when I would go for relief class. Then I would do this. I would think about what I should do for that lesson during that, when I'm sitting for relief class. I think this is the reason why I was nominated for Rentasan Cemerlang. Yeah, you should try to do it everywhere. Because, I mean, why not maximize the use of your time? You don't have time. You don't have time to eat. You don't have time to sleep. So might as well, when you are in class for relief, that is not your class, bring your notebooks everywhere and try to do your lesson planning. And then at home, you immediately start typing already. Up to you. Oh, and by the way, for lesson planning, on the weekends, try to choose one day, either Saturday or Sunday, you wake up early. Like for my case, I woke up at 6, I showered, I ate at 8:30 sharp. I would open my laptop, I would create my lesson plan for the entire week. And I would finish around sometimes 12 p.m., sometimes 4 p.m. So that entire day, my entire Saturday would be spent on me completing my lesson plan and also the materials and everything. So on the weekdays, like for example, I had class on Tuesday, right? So on Monday, I would print the materials and I would cut it during relief class so that at night, when I go home later, I can just have more free time to sleep, eat, whatever. Try to do that. Try to complete your lesson plans in one day on the weekend. Choose one day, like I did. But it is up to you lah. If you would like to spend your weekend like that. I mean, for me, my Sunday was free already, since I already spent my Saturday doing that. Up to you. And then, okay, for rentas observation, it can be very early or very late. It can start any time from the second last week until the final week of In practicum, there are 10 weeks. So the second last week will be week 9 or week 10. It is up to the observers when to enter your class. It is not up to you. Also, the observers will choose the periods of which day for your observation. You cannot choose. You do not have the autonomy to choose. Since the lecturers, the observers, have to juggle between their lectures and going to school to observe you for Rentas Cemerlang, unless there is an event going on, so you have to tell them. Like for my case, I really, really wanted my Rentas Cemerlang observation to be on Thursday, this hour. To be on Friday, 10:30 to 11:30. However, my observers at that time, 2 lecturers, a TESL lecturer and another lecturer who has taught English in primary school but is from another department. They were not available on Friday during this time. So those 2 observers / lecturers ended up picking this hour right after recess on a Thursday. Recess classes right after recess is quite hard because they've just eaten, so the sugar rush is sky high. They would be harder to control in class. I really thought I was not going to get the Rentasan Cemerlang, but I did anyway. I think it's because of the teaching aids that I did. The classroom management, 50-50, up to them. Okay, now these are the things that you should do after practicum. Number 1, complete both of your portfolios / files. your daily lesson plan, and then your general practicum portfolio. Settle all of it, and then ask your lecturer, because it is up to your lecturer if they want to keep these 2 files or not. However, for my lecturer, thankfully, my supervising lecturer said, no, I do not want your file. You can keep it. I was like, okay, great. Some lecturers, on the other hand, they will not say that. They would want to keep your files. So confirm with your lecturers whether they would like to keep your practicum files or not. Complete your online files. Okay, this is actually more important than the physical file after practicum. After you finish your practicum, your online files are more important. Settle uploading all the materials into the G Drive folders for your general portfolio and your lesson plan portfolio, because the practicum unit will check to consider you done. If you do not finish uploading all of your materials into the G Drive folders, they will contact you and your holiday would be disrupted. You will have to settle it first and then continue on to your holiday. For my case and my practicum mate's case, since our lecturer was constantly reminding us to upload everything, me and her completed it first. We completed it first, whereas our classmates took a bit more time completing it because they didn't even know that we had to upload the materials into the Google Drive. So keep that in mind. And then lastly, when practicum ends, you would have 3 months of freedom. Is it 3? No, 2 months. 2 full months of freedom. Only your first week of November is taken away because that's the last week of practicum. Your second, third, fourth week of November until first week of January of the next year, you will be free. So do whatever you want or do whatever you like. Go healing. Trust me, you really need it. Maybe go on a trip with your classmates or something and share your experiences, what you went through during practicum. Because that's what my class did. We went on a trip, and during that trip, we all talked about the things that we went through. There's a lot. You'll never expect what you will have to go through. Some discipline cases as well. If anything happens, refer to your lecturer. Inform your lecturer. Your lecturer will help you if anything happened at school. Trust me. Your lecturer is there to back you up. Sure, they are there to evaluate you, yes. But if anything happens, they are the few ones who are close to you. So only they can help you to solve what is happening at school. And I think that is all for now. And if you want the slides, you can scan here. All of these, you can all get it here. You can scan the QR code if you want. I'll give you some time. Alright, I think that's it from me. Thank you for listening.
Baiklah, sebelum kita mengakhiri majlis kita pada hari ini, kita akan menjemput hadirin yang ingin mengemukakan soalan untuk menaip soalan di ruangan chat dalam YouTube rasmi Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Batu Lintang. Jadi hadirin boleh menyatakan nama penuh dan kampus yang diwakili terlebih dahulu sebelum mengajukan soalan. Dipersilakan. Kami akan memberikan sedikit masa untuk membolehkan hadirin mengajukan soalan. Baiklah saudari, kita telah memperoleh soalan yang pertama. Jadi soalan beliau berbunyi begini. Hello, good morning. I am Zoe from Institut Pendidikan Guru Kampus Batu Lintang. I wanted to ask about the panel's personal experience in classroom management and how they overcome challenges to control students. Thank you, that's all.
In my case, most of the time, I was almost always very strict with the students. I mean, sure, if they do something good, I would give them compliments and everything. But try not to be their friends. Because the moment you try to do that, they will step all over you. So most of the time, be stern and strict. Let's say, instead of sitting down, you see them standing up. You look their way immediately and say, why are you standing up? Did I say you can stand up? Or if you do not want to say anything, you just go to their desk, put your arms like this, you look at them. Did I say you can stand up? Sometimes you don't even need to say anything, just give them a death glare. Practice your death glare. Try not to say anything sometimes, because they might even try to talk back to you. Practice your death glare instead. Let's say during the lesson, when you are teaching, suddenly they got noisy. Okay, what you do is you stop teaching, you go to right in front of the middle of the class, in front of the whiteboard. You do this. You do not try to say anything. You just do this. They will immediately keep the noise down because they know they are wrong for talking loud enough that you can hear them. Like you as a teacher can hear them. Try to do that. What more? If they do anything wrong, okay. I had one student during class who was fighting with their friend. And I said, if you fight with them, the both of you will lose your stars, the reward charts, the stars in the reward charts, and you will not play any game. I would almost always threaten them to not be able to play games if they misbehave. Because in all of my lessons, it's either in the set induction or the closure, I would include a game to like reinforce the knowledge that they have learned. So if they misbehave, they do not have a chance to play that games like their friends. Everyone can play the games except for them. You can take that away from them. Like take the positive thing that they can do because they misbehaved. So that is one of the ways that you can control your class. Like I said, first class, do not smile. Be stern. When you enter class like this, morning. Don't even think about smiling. Or if you enter class in the afternoon, you just say, good afternoon, and then you enter class. Your face should be like this, poker face. Do not smile. Because if you smile, they would know, oh, this is the new teacher. You know what the mindset is when it comes to practicum trainees? Oh, this is the new teacher. She's probably not that good, or in other words, not like our actual English teacher. So we can not respect her as much. That's their mindset. Because you are not that much older than them, what? Only 10, 12 years? Yeah. So try to 10, 12, 15 years. That's it. You are much younger than they expect a teacher would be. So try to be stern. However, when they do something good, you do praise them. Oh, good. For example, I had a student named Eldon. Most of the time he would misbehave, but when he did something that would help me, for example, erasing the whiteboard, and I would say, "Good job, Eldon. Thank you." And try to practice English with them. Right after I say thank you, I would ask him back, "What should you say to me when I say thank you?" "Oh, you're welcome, teacher." Try to do that. So any more questions?
Baiklah, terima kasih Saudari untuk soalan yang pertama. Baiklah, kita akan terus kepada soalan yang kedua. Ada 2 lagi soalan tinggal. Baiklah, ini daripada Saudari Ifah. Soalan dia berbunyi, I am Ifah from IPG Kampus Antarabangsa. My question is, what is your strategy to make sure your student not left out, especially for those who weak in understanding English? That's all.
Okay. What I would do is group work. A group work, but in that maybe like a group work worksheet, there are 3 activities. Okay, the first activity is the easiest. Maybe let's say it's listening. No, let's say it's reading a passage. So the first activity in that worksheet is to read and tick the information in the passage. So the first activity, read and tick, you can give it to the lower proficiency students. And then the second activity is for the intermediate proficiency students. You can have them do read and fill in the blanks for intermediate students. Read the same passage, but for them is to fill in the blanks. And then the third activity is for the advanced students. Maybe read and answer. Yeah. Read the questions and answer. Like they read about questions, that ask questions about the passage that they have read, and those students will try to answer it. So you instead of one big worksheet that they would have to, like, everyone would have to share, you cut that worksheet into 3 parts. So one part you give it to the lower proficiency student, and you have them do it. This is one set question. And then the second activity for intermediate, you cut that middle part and give it to them. And then the last part, you cut it and you give it to them. It's one worksheet, but divided into 3 parts, and you cut it and you give it to them in that group. So let's say they still have time. So for the lower proficiency students, it's just read and tick, right? Maybe give more questions to them, more statements that they can read, or maybe a true or false. They would try to determine if the statement is true or false, and they tick. The intermediate, read and fill in the blanks. For the higher proficiency ones, read and answer questions. That's how I did it for my class, and it works. And let's say the higher proficiency students, they would finish earlier. They can actually help to check the intermediate and the lower proficiency students' work. So in your lesson plan, that you can say that collaborative learning, collaboration, one of the 6C. Any more?
Baiklah, kita ada soalan yang seterusnya. Jadi soalan dia berbunyi, Hi, I am Lian from IPGKBL. What are some of the classroom rule or routines that you establish with your students? That's all.
Excuse me. The first time that you enter class, the first day of practicum, you try to set these rules, right? So my rules was clap. C was what? Okay, I had a few rules, but I forgot the exact words. I'll just say it to you. Number 1, C. Yes, C is clear your tables. Only English books are allowed on the table. You do not want to see any other subjects. C, clear your tables. L is what now? L is listen carefully. Those are the rules. Clear your tables, C. Listen carefully, L. A is ask questions if they do not know, and ask questions by raising your hands. Ask questions by raising your hand, A. And then P is pay attention to what your teacher says. Yeah. Clear your table, listen carefully, ask questions by raising your hand, and then pay attention to your teacher, to your friends when they are talking. Those are the rules that I set the first time that I entered both of my assigned classes. Any more?
So here is another questions. Okay. So, datang daripada saudari Sofia. So, apa yang dia cakap adalah, good morning, I'm Sofia from IPGK. May I know how do you prepare your project-based learning?
Project-based learning, in the lesson plan I think you're talking about the SOW, right? For your project-based learning, if this is what I'm thinking that you're talking about, in the SOW, there are normal SOWs, there are project-based learning SOWs. So it depends on your school, unfortunately, okay? Because for my practicum school, my mentor told me, oh, I want you to only focus on the normal SOWs, the language arts, you do it later. I want you to focus on the SOWs related to the textbook first. For the project-based learning, you ignore that. So in my case, I did not go through it, unfortunately, because that was what I was ordered to do. And that was also the preference of my practicum school. They only wanted me to focus on the SOW related to the textbook. And even the language arts, I barely did. I think I only did one language art SOW that I managed to implement for my lessons. So for your project-based learning, if I'm not mistaken, the main skill and the complementary skills, as well as the learning standards were free, right? So maybe you can go through the previous SOWs and choose one SOW that you would prefer. And then you copy the main skills, the complementary skills, as well as the learning standards of the SOW that you liked previously into that project-based learning, but make the activities more fun and creative. Maybe a lot of like games. It doesn't matter. Physical games or like station games, or in other words, another thing that you can do is digital-based games, like your own games that you have developed during your earlier IPG years, or on word wall, there are a lot more games that you can find online. You can try to implement those in those lessons as well. The keyword is fun, but at the same time, they are still learning. They're not just having fun, but not gaining anything. They should still gain something. So try to make it fun. That's what I suggest you to do. Copy the earlier SOW, but make it fun and interactive. Any more?
Okay, for the last questions, from Angeline. Hi, I'm Angeline from IPGK, and I would like to ask a question. How do you handle the class if the students still don't follow the classroom rules and the punishment given doesn't work? I mean, if they violated any of the classroom rules.
Okay. I did this before. So because I did a reward chart for my class, and they did this before, you know what I did? I took off all of the stars that I have collected. All of them. I left nothing behind. It was completely empty. I took off all the stars and I said, you want to be noisy, right? You want to violate all the rules, right? Go ahead. I take all these stars. Only good students deserve these stars. And there's another thing that I did. I would always try to compare them for the other class that I'm teaching. Okay, let's say the class that's being noisy is my 3M class. So I would say, since you're being so noisy, I'll take away all of your stars and give it to 4M. Only 4M is the good class. And not only that, because 4M has so many stars, they will get all the presents. You don't get any. Try to do that. Compare them with the other classes that you are teaching. Because you know what they hate? They hate it when they are in a competition and if they lose to the other class. It really worked for me. So you should try that. Compare them to the other class and try to threaten them with that. If you do not try to behave, the other class will get your gifts as well. You don't get any. Try to say that. But be careful lah, because some of them would actually cry. So yeah, know your boundary there. Any more?
Baiklah saudari, nampaknya itu sahaja soalan untuk hari ini. Majlis mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada saudari Syalin Alina binti Saiful Bahtiar atas ilmu yang disampaikan dan kesudian untuk menjawab soalan itu tadi. Majlis juga mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih kepada para hadirin yang sudi untuk bertanyakan soalan. Diharapkan ilmu yang disampaikan mampu diimplementasikan oleh para hadirin sekalian semasa menjalani praktikum yang bakal berlangsung pada semester akan datang. Baiklah warga Dewan, dengan berakhirnya perkongsian itu tadi, maka berakhirlah slot pertama untuk hari ini. Majlis mengucapkan ribuan terima kasih atas kesudian para hadirin yang sudi bersama-sama kami. Untuk pengetahuan hadirin sekalian juga, bicara praktikum fasa 1 kita akan bersambung semula pada waktu petang nanti. Oleh itu, para hadirin dibenarkan untuk berehat sebelum bersua kembali bersama kami pada jam 2.30 petang nanti untuk slot pendidikan seni visual. Sekian, terima kasih.